part 2 of our, like, probably billion-part series
yeah.
of, you know, our lives were in danger, but God.
But God.
If you saw our part 1 video, we ended off with her property manager charging at me. Just like that. Can you do, sorry, can you do that one more time? Perfect, that's brilliant.
I don't think he did the face, but I think
no, it was more.
Yeah. It was, Ew. Anyways, we're so weird.
Anyways, so that's where we ended off.
So we ended off there.
Yes. And just when you think things couldn't get any juicier, they do. They get crazier. And, like, it
got crazy.
Yo, when I tell you the amount of PTSD we had after this whole thing, like,
I feel like we're pretty much in the clear. We ended off the part with my property manager.
Yep.
Charging at her, and we're like, okay, that was kind of cool. That was like a cool.
That was fun.
That was a little experience, you know.
Yeah, a little
add
spicy.
To a resume. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, so that happened. We were planning on going to get Starbucks food. We really wanted to get out at that point.
Yeah, we didn't want to stay there.
Let's really go get some food.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that happened, but I remember, I think we were in the car at this point, and then it was weird because the property manager guy left, but then directly in front of us,
weird.
There was like this really...
So weird.
I don't know. She kind of seemed demonic. Like a lady in front of
1000%.
us who was just like, kind of like just staring at us.
And walking weird.
Like, it was just strange. So I remember we were praying against her.
And then
like any spirit that was in her that was like demonic, we were just praying against it. Because we were like, we ain't having that. Like, we don't got time for that, you know?
And mind you, I've never seen her before. Like, I used to visit my sister all the time, right? And, like, a bunch of these people that started appearing came out of nowhere.
Literally.
And so I remember she was, like, literally, like, on the two sidewalks, right? Yeah. Same sidewalks. So we're over here again, because that's where the parking was. And, I remember she was, like, literally, so we're here, she's in front of the car. Yeah. Right? And she's just walking weird and just looking at us. And I remember looking across at the other side of, like, the other sidewalk, and there was a guy that,
basically the Joker. He looked like the Joker. It was very, very...
Not even joking. Like, but, like, literally, he was, like, walking up and down, back and forth. And
he was kind of, like, shaking his head, like, really smiling.
But he was smiling. It looked like he was laughing to himself as he was pacing up and down the sidewalk. Big smile. Totally looked demonic. Didn't even look human. Yeah. I remember he had, like, short curly hair. Again, I was like...
I remember that too.
Never seen this dude before. Ever. Yeah. I've been to your place how many times? I've never seen these people roaming the sidewalks like that. Yeah. And, so the lady's there, this dude's there, and they're both kind of pacing. And again, it's like, we're in the middle. There's someone on either side of us, right? And it's like, why are these things happening? Yeah. And so I remember again, we start praying and we just like, man, like this was such a like powerful moment, I guess, with like our faith, because it really like literally, it's almost like God like kicked us back into it. Yeah. You know, it wasn't like this gentle, like get back to like faith. It was like, no, like you're in, it's game time. You have to pray. There's all these things that are around you. You know, there's these spiritual, you know, principalities and other things that like you may not necessarily see, but I'm going to show you so you know what to pray for. Yeah. So we start praying for protection. Yeah. And I don't remember if they left or if we left.
I think we just ended up leaving.
I think we left because we were just like too freaked out. We didn't want to be like...
You know, we just left.
Yeah.
I remember.
We
were just like so... I don't know. I think we were just fearful. Like
1000%.
Like, yes, God is there with us, but like in the moment, it is scary sometimes. Yeah. And we were just like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? And I think that's what like... we were thinking about.
Oh, totally.
Like, on the car, like, what are we gonna do? Like, that was so scary. Like,
So as we're like going to get drinks and stuff, because we don't want to be back there.
No.
Right? So we're getting drinks. We're, like she said, trying to figure out, what do we do? Do we go back? Do we stay in hotels? I don't want to go to my place now either.
And I didn't want to go to my place.
Yeah, and
like,
so,
no.
Right? And we didn't really have family we could trust. My son's father I couldn't trust because I was in an abusive relationship with him. And so I was like, well, where do we go? We can't just go to our mom and be like, hey, can you help us?
No.
And so I think around this time we got the drinks. I remember we got food, and then we went back to your place, if I'm remembering the events properly. We went back to your place, and we were like, we just need to get food. We just need to get, like, spare changes of clothes, and, like, we just need to, like, stay in a hotel.
Yeah, we just need to grab stuff and then just leave.
Because we felt so unsafe. And, like, I remember when we literally, like, drove back into, like, your underground parking.
Oh, I was so nervous.
And, like, having to go up to the elevator, like, always just, like, looking around. And I remember there was even, like, weird people at the same time that kept, like, it's weird because all these people, I've never seen them before, but all in, like, the period of, like, days and, like, even weeks. I remember there would be random people who'd be, like, you know, you'd have to have, like, a fob to get into the elevator to take you to the floor. And I would, like, go into the elevator, and sometimes there would be people like, oh, I need this floor. And I'm like, why are you not using your fob? Like, why are you waiting in the elevator?
Like,
but
sketchy.
Yeah, super sketch. So this stuff was kind of happening. So as we're in the elevator, I'm, like, so, like,
just looking everywhere. So, yeah, once we got to the door of my apartment, we literally, like, quickly locked the door. And then my sister was like, just get what you need, and then I'll get whatever
food.
else. Whatever. And I was like, okay. So, like, I was freaking out. I didn't even know what to grab. I was in a panic, but I was nervous, but I knew I needed to grab stuff. But so I just grabbed a bunch of stuff that was, like, in the dryer and, like, shoved it in my bag. I tried to grab, like, some clothes and just shoved whatever in there, some, like, toiletries. And then, it was so stressful.
I remember just being like, we don't have a lot of time.
No.
And again, where did this come from? I don't know. I didn't know we didn't have a lot of time. But I just felt a sense of urgency. Same. Like, we need to go, get our stuff, and get the heck out of here. We can't come back right now.
No, we can't. It's
not
safe.
So she was getting her stuff, and I remember I started grabbing food, so I went through her kitchen, and I literally was, like, opening cupboards. I had bags, and I just grabbed my hand. It was, like, scooping bags of stuff.
See, this is why you did that, because I feel like I'm so particular.
No, I just grabbed it.
This, no, but you just, like, grabbed it. I feel like you were perfect.
And I had and this is the thing. I feel like sometimes God will speak to you in different ways.
Yeah.
And all throughout this process, He gave us the warning, right? Before the stuff started happening.
Yeah.
And we prayed before the stuff started happening. And then even with this, it's like, I had a feeling we're gonna need this stuff. Like, we're gonna need, like, all of it. So I grabbed all of it. I even grabbed, like, we had, like, tinctures and stuff because we love, like, natural remedies. And we grabbed, like, vitamins and stuff. And so I think I even grabbed, like, toilet paper.
Yeah, I think you grabbed everything.
I literally just grabbed, like, anything and everything. And whatever I could from the fridge, I grabbed. And so we grabbed it. She had a bag. And thankfully, again, God in His providence, He had it so that I was already staying with her, which means I already had a backpack.
Like, you were good.
I had stuff for me and for my son.
Yeah. So crazy.
So I didn't have to go to get it because I already had it. So it's like God prepared me already by getting me to bring something to bring to her place. So again, like, the little details... Yeah. God worked that out.
Totally.
So we get our stuff. We, like, go to the car. We have, like, all these bags. And I remember, because we're in the underground parking this time. So we're literally, like, again, looking, because her property manager was there last time. We're, like, throwing everything in. We're making sure the kids are in the car first and foremost. Yeah. Putting all the stuff in. And then we're like, okay, let's go.
And then you go into your car, and I just have the two kids.
Yes.
Because we did not want to deal with transferring the car seat out at that moment. So I had both the kids in my car, and you went into your car.
Yeah.
And then we just followed each other from there.
And this is another part where it gets crazy. So if you remember the first video, I said I didn't have my phone because it was...
Yes.
Because it was
trickier.
Yeah, because it was in the cell phone repair shop. So I didn't... Like, normally I use, like, Google and stuff to just kind of figure out where to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But I literally didn't even know where I was going. I just knew that we had to leave.
And just get away from that area.
And just get away from that area.
Yeah.
And so I remember, I was like, we will follow each other.
Yeah, we'll just follow each other.
I was like, follow me, and we'll just, like, once I feel like we're in a safe place, we can stop, get out, maybe get some food or eat our snacks, whatever we got to do, and then figure out a game plan. Mm-hmm. And so I remember... starts to get crazy again.
Yep.
So, but again, this is the really cool part because God does something really cool. So,
yes.
Oh man, so what we end up doing is we go on the highway because we're like, we need to get out of the city. So if we just
get away.
Let's go to a different city even just for a bit, you know? Like let's just
for a little bit, just to kind of debrief, see what we're gonna do next.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're on the highway, she's following me, she's got the kids in the car, she's got her phone, and I remember at that time she called our dad because she's telling him about everything that's been going on, how like we're totally feeling like freaked out, and we're like, can you pray for us, help us, like just pray dad, pray. So as we're on the road, I don't really know where we're going on the highway, and so I remember like pulling over and putting like my hazards on
because we kind of needed to figure out what we're doing,
and I couldn't call her to just be like, hey, let's go here or whatever, right? And so I remember pulling over on the side of the highway, and I remember I pulled over in a spot on purpose because we were already being like followed and weird stuff that I was like, I don't want somebody else to be able to be beside us. No. So I pulled over on the highway basically where there wasn't like a big shoulder, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Where there was just like a really small, like thin line, and I pulled over there. Yeah. And I was like, okay, nobody can like pull up behind us here. Like this is fine. So so we're there. My sister pulls up behind me. And she gets out of the... Get out. I get out of the car and I have the kids. She had the kids, right? So I walk towards her and I'm like, hey, she rolls her window down. I'm like leaning in. I can hear dad on the phone at the same time. He's still there, like with us this whole time. Yeah. And so I'm like, like maybe we should go like this place, and we're trying to figure out like what to do. And then as we're on the phone and as I'm like kind of hanging over like the window talking to them, I'm still able to like see the traffic coming, right? As I'm like, dude, like this literally.
Still cut. Anyways.
And I feel like
crazy.
And I feel like this is part of why we haven't shared like the story fully.
And then it's like
when it sounds so crazy.
And then I remember all the little details, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's why we were scared.
Exactly.
It's like sometimes I forget,
and then you remember how much stuff actually went on, and you're like, well, no kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so I'm chilling here, hanging over the like window, the door of the car. Yeah. And all of a sudden I look over and I see this like red semi truck coming towards us. And in my head I'm like, oh, he's just gonna pass, whatever. Yeah. But all of a sudden I start to see him slow down and I'm like,
you're like, stop.
You have to be kidding me. Because at this point we felt like we didn't even have a chance to rest. Breathe. Because we weren't even sleeping properly because we were just so full of like fear. Oh yeah. We didn't know if somebody was gonna try to like break into our we did not know. So much was going on. And so I remember seeing the semi-truck slow down. I was like, huh. And sure enough, he pulls up right behind both of our cars. Yeah, and remember, our dad is still on the phone. I'm like, and I actually swore because I was just so like shocked that has actually happened that I was like, oh, like, gotta go. And I literally like ran into my car. And
then meanwhile, my dad was like, what's happening? And it's like, a semi-truck just like pulled up behind us and...
Oh. Sorry.
And then, so anyways, our dad was like wondering what happened because he overheard my sister, and then that's just when it gets interesting. So then my sister pulls out onto the road, and then I'm pretty sure, are you following me or am I following you?
At this point, I think
I went ahead.
Because I had to run in the car. Yeah. So you just took off, you had the kids, I'm like, you go?
Because I think you said, I'll follow you, because I had the phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you went, yeah.
So anyway, so like, at this point, I'm freaking out on the phone because, so basically what happens is I get onto the main road now because we came off the shoulder. And you would think, like, okay, the semi-truck, maybe it had to do something on the side of the road, whatever.
Or maybe they were just trying to help and be nice. Whatever. Maybe they thought we were, like, whatever.
But instead, as soon as I pull onto the road, he also pulls onto the road. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand what's happening. So anyways, I just keep going down the road. And then my dad was like, what's going on? And I was like, it seems like he's following us, but I'm not sure. And then my dad was like, well, you're going to have to see if you can lose him, or to see if he's following you, like, quickly turn around and see if he follows you. So I remember.
I remember that too.
So my dad was like, yeah, you need to do a quick turn, and then you'll know if he's following you if he does that too, right? Well. So sure enough, I do that. I turn around, and the semi-truck also follows us.
And you have to think about this too. This is a semi-truck.
It's a big truck.
It's a long truck. The fact that the semi-truck driver decided, I'm going to do, like, a U-turn in the middle of the highway.
And follow us.
Is nuts. It's actually nuts.
Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
Like, what? Anyways.
So that happens. And then I'm even more freaked out now.
Because now I'm aware that he's
following us. So then my dad is like, okay. He's like, he's praying. He's like, it's okay. He's like, just stay calm. And this is a crazy thing, too, that I forgot. I was like, because the area we're in, I was kind of like losing cell reception.
Yeah.
So my phone was going in and out. So, like, Dad would be on the phone, and then I would lose him, and then I would try to call him back, and then I would lose him. So then I was freaking out. I was, like, literally so freaked out. But the kids were in the back. But I was, like, so nervous on the phone. And Dad was like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. It was so scary. But anyways, so I remember, I forget what happened, but
I just remember when you turned.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't have a phone, so I was watching her like a hawk to see what she was doing, so that if she turned, I turned. And so I remember the first turn she turned, I turned so fast because I didn't know she was going to do that, right? Yeah. And I remember she turned into, like, there was, like, a gas station. And so she, like, turned into the gas station. I followed her. Yeah. And then she got back out to where it looked like she was going to turn right, I think, but then she turned left instead to, like, trick the semi-truck. Yeah. And the second time he followed us. So not only did he follow us the one time, she literally had her signal, I think, one way and then went a different way, and he still followed us. Yeah. And so we started going back a certain way. And I remember at this point, too, because I was following... I was behind her, and so the truck was behind me. And I remember there was one part where, like... So I remember we thought maybe he, like, sped up and he went, like, in front of us.
Right.
And so we thought, like, we maybe lost him, and we were like, okay,
that's what it was.
Maybe he's
I was
gone.
trying to remember how he got in front of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then he, like, sped up and he got in front of us, but instead of, like, stopping or anything, he just kept going. So I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, like, maybe we're good.
Yeah,
like,
maybe
whatever.
we're good. And so we keep driving, and I remember, it's all so crazy, but we keep driving, and I remember we get to this place on the highway where we're like, oh, we don't see anyone here, this is amazing, good. Okay, I think we can keep driving. Yeah. And all of a sudden, so we're, like, going on the highway, right? And the truck was ahead of us.
It was kind of like a highway that, like...
It was a weird highway.
It wasn't like it was a highway, but it also had, like, stuff around it.
Like rural stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, lots of trees.
Yeah.
If you get our drift.
Yeah.
So it was still kind of, like, sketchy middle of nowhere highway, which in where we were from is notorious for stuff. But anyways, so we're driving down the road, and the truck was in front of us, and I remember as we keep going, we're like, oh, we don't see anyone. But then all of a sudden, now, again, somehow the semi-truck was able to turn around, because now we get to a point...
His nose is hanging out of, like, a side area. So it's like, you couldn't see his full truck.
But you could see the nose.
You could see the nose of his truck just sticking out. And we're like...
And as soon as we start driving towards him... Because remember, we're on the highway, so we're going a certain speed. Because when you're on the highway, you can't just go like 20 kilometers. So I think we're going, 100 maybe? Or 8? I don't remember what it was. I think it was 100.
Maybe 80.
So we're going 100, and then all of a sudden, the semi-truck pulls his nose out, and I kid you friggin' not, blocks the highway. The whole, perimeter of the vehicle is blocking both lanes. And I remember she quickly had to, put her brakes on and
turn
do
around.
A U-E. And then I had to quickly do a U-E because, again, we're not planning any of this out in our heads.
Yeah.
And so, so then she starts going the other way. And I remember around this time, after the fact we talked about it, she said that she was talking to Dad about it.
Yeah.
And he started praying.
Yes. Yes, because,
there's two different things he was praying.
Yeah, so first he was praying that the semi-truck would get stuck. Yeah. And that he wouldn't be able to follow us. Yeah. So after the point at which he, blocked the highway, we went the other way. We didn't see him, ever again.
Yeah, he was gone. He was not able to follow us.
So I don't know, Dad prayed that, something would happen. He would not be able to follow us.
And he couldn't.
He didn't.
We're thank you, God.
But then, also, my dad was I'm just praying a prayer of protection over your vehicles. I'm praying that there will be a dome of angels surrounding your vehicle.
Yeah, wherever you go.
Yeah, wherever you go. And so I was thank you, Dad. Right?
Yeah. And we're still freaked out.
Yeah, literally at this point, I'm so shaken up from this whole experience. Because I'm what is going on? Yeah. We don't feel safe anywhere because we weren't even in the same city at this point.
And people are still following us.
Yeah. And so, like my sister said earlier, we don't really have family in that area.
Yeah.
And our dad wasn't even in the area. He's super far away.
Yeah.
So we just had him on the phone. But yeah, we didn't have anyone to reach out. We didn't really have friends that we could call. Here's the thing, in this situation, we knew that there was something spiritual going on. There was a spiritual warfare or whatever. Yeah. So it's you can't just call up anyone and be hey, this stuff is happening. And they may or may not understand. So we just were okay. Yeah. Who can we talk to? Mm-hmm. And the only person that I could think of was my manager that I used to work with. Mm-hmm. Or still, I guess, was employed at that point with her. Right. But I just called her and I kind of told her we just don't feel safe. There's been a lot of stuff happening. It seems like it's spiritual warfare. And she was kind of asking about it. I was we just don't feel safe. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. And then she was let me just pray for you. Mm-hmm. So I remember she was just praying on the phone. And it was weird because I don't remember specifically what she was praying, but she was praying so specific to our situation. It's how did she know to pray those prayers? And then I remember at the end, she's I'm just getting goosebumps, but I'm seeing a dome of angels around your vehicle. And she's that's crazy because our dad was literally praying that. And then she says that she sees that and that she's literally getting goosebumps from it. Yeah. And
so even just, I remember in that moment, I remember she told me.
I was crying on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I remember there were times, and I feel you reached out to more people because you had more people that were, more solid believers, just to ask for prayer. And like she said, we were not explaining in detail what was going on. We didn't tell them, but whenever they would pray for us, they prayed for us in such a way where it was we needed the exact prayers they prayed. It's about, how do you know this? How do you know we're going through this? This is insane. And when I remember when Jazz told me about that, because again, I was in my car. I wasn't there when she prayed. Mm-hmm. She told me about the whole Dome of Angel thing, and I was that just goes to show God's got us.
God is
He's keeping us safe. Yeah. He's keeping us safe. Even though things, and again, it's that, it just, right now, what's coming to mind is that verse in the Bible that talks about how no weapon that's formed against you will prosper. Yeah. And 100%. It's with us, it's I feel we had so many different proverbial weapons, I guess, that were trying to do something, but they were never able to prosper. So whether it was the van incident, what were they trying to do? Mm-hmm. Rush out and grab us? They weren't able to do that. The manager who charged towards me, but he couldn't physically touch me. Yeah. Like, what was supposed to happen there? Like, I remember at the time when it happened, I'm like, is he gonna stab me? Like, I literally didn't know, right? But that didn't happen. And it's like, even the semi-truck, it's like, he followed us. We don't know what was going on. Yeah. He wasn't able to continue following us because he stopped and like God protected us. God did. Even though all these traumatic things were happening and we totally were still fearful, it's like there was just like a little glimpse of like, don't worry, I got you. Yeah. Like, you're in my hands. You're mine. Yeah. I'm the God of the universe and I'm so much bigger and I'm so much more powerful than all of these people who are in positions of power or who are, you know, part of gangs or who are a part of all these things, right? Mm-hmm. So that kind of helped.
It definitely helped.
We were still fearful.
We were definitely fearful.
And I remember, because at this time we were like, well, maybe we're not meant to leave. Yeah. Because we were like, maybe we're not meant to like leave the city. Like, maybe we should just get a different hotel.
Yeah, maybe just go back kind of toward where we're from. And just, we didn't go exactly in the same city where I was living at, just a little bit
further
inland. Yeah. So yeah, I remember at that point, I was just like, well, maybe we should go get prayer from like a pastor who lives in the city. Because we really liked this pastor.
And your other coworker, too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah.
So anyways, maybe we can just finish off, like, just a couple more things here.
Yeah, totally.
But, so yeah, I remember I told my sister. I told my sister that maybe we can go to this pastor, just get some prayer. And my friend's mom also lived in that same cul-de-sac. So I was like, maybe we could just stop over there and, like, maybe she can just, like, chill with the kids for, like, a few minutes while we go get prayer. And so she's like, oh, yeah, no worries. So the kids got to, like, play a little bit and just kind of, like, be kids for a bit.
Yeah, and just forget about everything.
Yeah. And so, anyways, yeah, I guess we ended up getting prayer from him. But
it wasn't really...
I don't know, it was just weird. It's like we were telling him, like, oh, we just don't feel safe. There's, like, lots of spiritual warfare. We just need prayer. Like, at this point, we were, like... We don't know what to do. We felt so desperate. Like, we just need someone to, like... pray for us. Yeah. And so, anyways, it was, like... It was okay, like... Yeah. But it was just not... I don't know. It was just, like... I feel like...
He was going through the motions and like, okay, I prayed for you, bye.
Yeah, just, that's it. And then he kind of like just gave us a number of someone else. Yeah. Who was like a female pastor, which it makes sense. I understand it. He's trying to protect and whatever, but it's like, just in that situation, we were so fearful and...
And I remember one thing he said as well, which kind of was like, ow. He was like, oh, like, what kind of stuff what have you been getting into?
Like, what kind of trouble have you got
like, it was our fault. And I was like, we were literally trying to get away from, like, these people. And, like, we're rekindling our relationship with God. And this is what's happening. And it felt like, it was just really, what's the word? It's just really kind of, like, disappointing. Yeah. Because, like, definitely disappointing. You know, because this person was, like, a well-known pastor, very well-known, and we respected him for a very long time, and it's just crazy that in our time where, like, we really could use the help, and which I get, too. I understand also where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like, man, like, where's your empathy? Where's your heart? Like, you know, I just think about... I don't know, even, like, the Great Samaritan and stuff. It's like, what happened to that? So, couldn't get help from him, so we ended up going to a church. Yes. A small church. Little church. And this is the funny contrast. Yeah. We're not saying where we lived, so you won't know where this church is, but, like, the pastor of the church we just went to was, like, a big church. It was big. Very big, very successful. Yeah. They had another... campus and everything. Like, they were doing really well. And so we ended up going to this smaller church parking lot just to, like, let the kids go out and play, because I remember we grabbed their, like, scooters and stuff just because, again, we had a feeling bring stuff. Yeah. Bring everything. So we brought scooters. We went to this parking lot. The kids were just riding around. And I remember there was a guy who pulled up beside us and he walked out. And it's funny because I remember at this time I actually didn't feel, for like the first time, I think I felt like... Okay. Yeah. Like I was still fearful, but I felt like... Okay. Like better. A little bit at peace. Yeah. And so this guy pulled up beside me. And it's, again, funny because normally you would think I'd be like... but as soon as he came out, I remember I saw him and I was like, oh, by any chance, like, are you a pastor? Yeah. And he was like, no. He's like, I'm not actually. He's like, I'm going in to speak to some people at the church, but I can ask if, you know, if somebody can come out and talk to you. And I was like, okay. I was like, that'd be really great, actually. I was like, sure. And so, and again, this is like God. I feel like he gave us like this small period of rest. Yeah. I don't know if we should keep talking about that in this video or if we should stop here.
Maybe we'll end it here because this is kind of the end of, like, day one.
Okay, so this is... Okay, so we're going to continue on in another video. Yes. So stay tuned. Bye. Bye.